Hello and good evening everyone. This is Professor Arshi Khan, Assistant Professor from M.H. Sabu Siddique College of Engineering, Electronics Engineering Department, Bhaikala, Mumbai, Maharashtra. This is my week 3 and 4 video on the subjects Environment Awareness video by participants on International FDP on Environment and Sustainability. My topic for today is carbon footprint calculations for base stations. Basically, we have to understand how carbon footprint of a particular electronic device which uses electromagnetic fields can be calculated. Since there are n number of devices which use electromagnetic fields like mobile phones, oven, etc., I chose a particular device which actually uses lots of energy and generates a very large carbon footprint. So let's move to the next slide. My week 1 video details are as follows. The number of likes, as you can see, and the number of views were 115. In brief, in week 1 we discussed about the EM fields. What are EMF fields? Basically, they are the electric and magnetic fields which are perpendicular to each other and to the direction of propagation. And these high energy microwave radiation which lies between frequencies from 300 megahertz to 300 gigahertz can be carcinogenic and can cause thermal effects, and also they are hazardous to any organism who is exposed to it. Now my week 2 video details shows the number of likes, the link, and the number of views. I haven't shared it with enough people. Anyways, week 2 content in brief discussed about various standard organizations like World Health Organization, then FCC, ICNIRP and IEEE, and their guidelines which is related to EMF limits, emission limits. So FCC deals with regulations related to radiation in case of communication, and ICNIRP is a body which is recognized by WHO and who gives standards or regulation guidelines on the emission of EMF. Now the video outcomes are, after learning through videos, the students will understand the concept of EMF and its effect on the environment, and they will also understand the guidelines given by various standard organizations with regards to the emission limits of EMF and to curb its ill effects. They will be able to apply the techniques of carbon footprint calculations to calculate their own carbon footprint and help reduce it. So they will be able to understand how carbon footprint can be calculated with respect to the devices which they use in their particular home or in their office, and they'll be able to calculate it. Or for example, in college, they'll be able to understand if they don't switch off their fans and lights after the lecture, or if they don't put their computers off. So how much harm it will cause to the environment in the long run. Now these are some standard organization and the guidelines which is given. So we already discussed about this in my 2 previous videos. So the first one is World Health Organization, and the guidelines given are: government and industry should promote research programs to further reduce the uncertainty of the scientific evidence on the health effects of ELF field exposure. Member states are encouraged to establish effective and open communication program with respect to stakeholders to enable informed decision making. These may include improving coordination and consultation among industry, local government and citizens in planning the process to limit EMF exposure. When constructing new facilities, ways to avoid or reduce exposures may be explored. Now, ICNIRP, which is International Commission on Non-Ionizing Radiation Protection, give limits or guidelines for limits for whole body exposure to EMF for both occupational and for general public with respect to the cell phones. Now, the SAR limit for the occupational exposure of the head is 10 watts per kg. So this is an example which is given, averaged over 100 grams mass of any tissue. However, there is no limit for public exposure in this particular given case, which deals with the cell phones. According to the Federal Communications Commission, the guidelines are, the SAR is basically, it first explains what is SAR. So if you don't remember from my previous slides, my previous videos, So the SAR is a value that corresponds to the relative amount of RF energy absorbed in the head of a user of a wireless handset. So mostly SAR deals with the emissions from the mobile phones. The FCC limit for public exposure from cellular telephones in a SAR level of 1.6 watts per kilogram. So this is a limit above which it is not permissible for any user to use that particular type of phone which emits more than this. Institute of Electrical and Electronic Engineers, everybody is well aware of it, especially all the engineers. The SAR values for unrestricted exposure of the whole body is restricted to 0.08 watts per kg, and in restricted environment the limit is set to 0.4 watts per kg. So this is one example. There are many such guidelines which are issued by all these international organizations, specifically ICNIRP, Federal Communications Commission, Institute of Electrical and Electronic Engineers. So in this particular small video, it's not possible to discuss all. Anyways, I request you to go through the references and make the and you can go and read there. Now this is cellular infrastructure. So before I explain you about the parts of a cellular infrastructure, let me tell you something. Cellular infrastructure, the main parts are the mobile phone, then you have the base stations, you have the MSC, which is mobile switching center, and you have a PSTN. So whenever you make a call to another mobile phone user or to a landline user, the call is routed through a particular entity which is known as a base station. So these base stations will route the call to the another base station which is in the vicinity, or they will route the call to the MSC in case of mobile call or cell phone call, or if you are calling to another mobile user, and in case of PSTN in case of landline call to a PSTN, which is public switch telephone network. So the base station basically are used for routing the calls from mobile user to the MSC or the PSTN. So now here, as you can see, base station comprises of, or the cellular infrastructure comprises of a base station which consists of antennas, antenna A, antenna B, you can see the battery, you can see the generator and air conditioner, which are a part of the battery, or it is also called as diesel generator. Now here is the some statistics on the energy consumption of various components of the base station. So as you can see, there is signal processing, analog and digital. So basically it absorbs 5 to 15% of the total energy consumed by the base station. Now the power supply consumes 5 to 10% of the energy. The air conditioner consumes 10 to 25%, and the power amplifier including feeder consumes the maximum energy, which is 50 to 80%. Let's move on to the next slide. Approximately 600 terawatt hour or 3% of the world's electrical energy is consumed by the information and communication technologies. For example, the mobile communication, or you can say the different service providers for your mobile, okay, causing approximately 2% of the CO2 emissions in the whole world. So they are responsible for the 2% of total CO2 emissions in the world. 9% of this consumption of ICTs is caused by communication networks. So now these mobile communication networks cause 9% of this consumption of energy. Within these radio communication networks, 10% of the energy is consumed by users of terminals, while 90% is consumed by telecommunication base stations. So now you know who's the main culprit in energy consumption and in generation of carbon footprint. I'll come to the carbon footprint in a while. So before that, you just know and understand that these base stations are responsible for consumption of large amount of energy and generating large amount of carbon footprint every day, every week, every month and annually. So together there are approximately 4 lakh base stations all over the country, which are belonging to different service providers like Vodafone, Airtel, then you can name them. There are so many Jio, Reliance Jio, and so many service providers, and all these base stations consume so much of energy and they produce a large amount of carbon dioxide emissions, and because of which they generate a very large carbon footprint, which is not good for the environment. A telecom site for different service providers, example Vodafone site, includes a 10 kilovolt ampere diesel generator. So every telecom site, or when we are talking about the base station, it consists of 10 kilovolt ampere diesel generator and a 48 volt 600 ampere hour battery bank. Now the average electrical power demand of the site is 2.52 kilowatts. So each site, each base station requires 2.52 kilowatts. There is approximately, as I told you, there are approximately 4 lakh base stations which operate approximately 12 hours a day. So now you can calculate. Now the diesel generator, which is a part of the base station, which is consuming the maximum energy and which contains all the parts like signal processing and air conditioner, whatever. So whatever parts we have discussed. Now the diesel generators exhaust the harmful hydrocarbons in the atmosphere during operation. Generators also produce a significant waste heat. So they are the main culprit for producing lots and lots of heat, which is essentially wasted energy. Now the diesel particulate emissions are short-lived climate pollutants that contains black carbon, which causes harmful effects to humans and may cause certain health problems like respiratory diseases and eye problems. So these small particles in the air, they're not visible, but they are they are actually when we breathe, so they go inside the respiratory system and to the lungs of the human beings, and they cause various respiratory diseases and eye problems. They produce high proportion of health harmful particulate matter and CO2 emissions per kilowatt hour of power generation, contributing to air pollution exposures as well as to climate change. So basically they are responsible for the number of events which actually gives rise to climate change. So they are one of the culprits or one of the reasons why this climate change is happening. Now let's come to the main gist of this particular video, which is carbon footprint. So our main aim is to calculate the carbon footprint which is generated by these base stations, these 4 lakh base stations. So we are talking about currently in our country, we'll be calculating the carbon footprint with respect to our country, and likewise you can calculate. So I have taken just one device or one, you can say, entity which is using or which is radiating EMF or electromagnetic fields and which is consuming lots and lots of energy for this purpose. Now the carbon footprint can be defined as amount of carbon dioxide emissions associated with all the activities of a person or entity. It includes direct emissions such as those that results from fossil fuel combustion in manufacturing, heating and transportation, as well as emissions required to produce the electricity associated with goods and services consumed. In addition, the carbon footprint concept also often includes the emissions of other greenhouse gases such as methane, nitrous oxide or chlorofluorocarbons. In short, if you talk about carbon footprint, it is nothing but it is the amount of greenhouse gases emitted by means of activities done by a particular individual or a community or a particular organization. So the main component of this carbon footprint, or you can say the main components or main gases which are responsible for this carbon footprint are basically CO2 and methane, out of which CO2 has the maximum share. So we can say that the carbon footprint is the amount of CO2 which is generated or which is emitted in the atmosphere and which causes different climatic changes and which causes the emission or you can say the greenhouse effect. Now the carbon footprint calculation for a base station we are going to see. So a single diesel generator, which is the main component of a base station, requires 2.7 liters of diesel per hour. Now you can calculate 2.7 liters, which is a big deal. 1 liter diesel combustion emits 2.64 kg carbon. So 1 liter diesel combustion will emit 2.64. So 2.7 liters will emit how much? Now average number of operating hours are 12 hours. So we take 12 hours. We will not take 24 hours because not all the base stations will operate at all the times. So we take average number of operating hours is 12. Now as you can see from this table, diesel consumption per day, as you know, is 2.7 liters per hour. So if we multiply it by 12 hours, we get 32.4 liters. So this is the diesel consumption per day. Now the diesel consumption per annum, now if we calculate per annum, so it is like 365 days. So 32.4 into 365 days comes to 11,826 liter. Now the CO2 emission per day is for 11,826 liter of diesel. So every liter will emit 2.64 kilograms. So it comes to 31,220.64 kgs per day. Now the CO2 emissions by 4 lakh base stations approximately per day are how many? So as you can see, this figure is very large. It is approximately trillion kg of 12 trillion kg of carbon dioxide per day. Now the carbon dioxide emissions by 4 lakh base stations annually. Now you have to multiply this particular large figure by 365 and you can see the answer. I am not able to write the answer. I can only show you the effect of it, which is the Mother Earth who's crying. So the Mother Nature is actually suffering. Our Mother Earth is suffering because we are not limiting the amount of carbon dioxide which we are emitting through our activities, and we are not understanding the ill effects that they will have in the future. If we do not control this carbon emission, our future generations will be left out with nothing. Let's move to the next slide. Now, what is the solution to reduce the carbon footprint? The telecom companies must start using renewable energy resources. This will not only help reduce CO2 emissions, but will also save non-renewable energy resources like diesel, thus reducing overall carbon footprint. Now, this is what is known as the green base station. So, these green and sustainable base station must be used in order to reduce the carbon footprint. Now, the sustainability computation standard: any green sustainable cellular base station is sustainable for a year without any maintenance for routine operations of 12 hours a day. So this is the sustainability of any base station. Specifically, green and sustainable cellular base station can operate without any maintenance for approximately 1 year and for 12 hours a day. So it is quite good. Now these are the references which you can go through and clear all your doubts. And if you have any doubts, you can post in the question answer column, or you can just post in the chat. I'll answer it whenever I get to see them or whenever I get time. Thank you. Thanks a lot.